Hello to everybody, it's Andrei Kureichik and you're on Alternative Blogvision YouTube channel, which provides you the trustful information about Ukraine, Belarus, Russia region. Today we will talk about Belarus because actually most of people underestimate the importance of this European country, which is actually in the middle of nowhere. Not many Americans, for example, even have idea where this country is, and I've heard that they told that it's in Africa or in South America. No, Belarus is in Europe. It's one of post-Soviet countries between Russia and Poland. From if we talk about like East-West, and between Lithuania, Latvia, and Ukraine, if we talk about North and South. 9.5 million population, 30 years under, almost 30 years under the rule of one dictator, Alexander Lukashenko. And maybe if you know something about Belarus, you usually can mention the surname of Lukashenko, one of the most terrible dictators of Europe in 20th and 21st century. So why I think that most of Westerns underestimate the importance of Belarus. Actually, if you can look at plan of Putin in the Russian-Ukrainian conquer war, the idea was very simple: to attack Kiev, and the only option to attack Kiev was from the north, because it's the shortest road from the border to Kiev. And this attack was made right on the 24th of February 2022. Armads of tanks, of people, of helicopters, of all vehicles Putin has in his army, they crossed the border of Belarus and Ukraine and attacked Kiev. It was an attempt to make a blitzkrieg in the German style, right like Hitler wanted to do with Soviet Union in 1941 under the plan of Barbarossa. And in few days, this army was near Kiev, just maybe 20 kilometers near Kiev, and the avant-garde of this army was already in the Kiev. It was on the in the Victory Avenue, which is just 1 kilometer from Zelensky Palace. So it was actually almost done attempt. In Minsk, in this time, was Viktor Yanukovych, former president of Ukraine. You remember Maidan. We have now the celebration of 8 years of Maidan, when Ukrainian people just kicked out the corruptional powers of Viktor Yanukovych, who decided to betray the choice of Ukrainian people for European perspective. That was the deal. Yanukovych promised that he will sign the treaty agreement, association agreement with the European Union, and then Putin bribed him with $3 billion, which never been found afterwards. And there are still courts between Russia and Ukraine where this money, and who must return them. Ukrainian says that Yanukovych, because he took it. And people in that time, they were shocked with the cruelty. Yanukovych police forces beated students, and millions came to the streets of all the cities of Ukraine, including actually Lugansk and Donetsk and Crimea. Everywhere people were against Yanukovych, so he had no chance. And even when he and Putin made the deal with Western ambassadors, and they signed the deal about like preserving Yanukovych in power, Ukrainian people decided that he must go, and he flew out. And Parliament, which was the only legitimate representative of people, the Parliament of Ukraine, made a new law to transfer the power from Yanukovych, who was in Rostov city in Russia, to Alexander Turchinov, who was in charge of parliament in that moment. So, so what we have? We have this attack to Ukraine from Belarus, and now we understand why Putin was so supportive to Lukashenko in 2020. You remember, in 2020, people of Belarus tried to make their own Maidan as well. They tried to get rid of Lukashenko, and actually they did it in a much more civilized way. They voted on the elections, and they made a choice of Svetlana Tikhanovskaya, the housewife of very famous blogger and politician Sergei Tikhanovsky, who was in prison to that moment, and his wife ran for the presidency. And Lukashenko thought that nobody knows her because she never made any kind of public speeches or public activities. So, and there is only like 2 months before elections, she had no chance in Lukashenko's head. So he allowed her to go, but all intelligentsia, all intelligent people, all politicians, all political parties, and everybody, they somehow united around Tikhanovskaya, who just promised to make a new elections, free elections, and nothing more. And actually, people loved her because she was just human. Lukashenko was strict dictator and absolutely heartless person, and he didn't care about coronavirus, and so many people died. So he lost his ratings, he lost his popularity, and this Svetlana was just a woman with love to people. So people voted for her. Lukashenko denied this choice. Protest started, huge protest. Millions and millions were there in that time, and it was obvious that Lukashenko must go. That was just obvious that he will go like Yanukovych, but he got support, and this support was from Mr. Putin. And now, in 2022, we understand why Putin supported Lukashenko so heavily, with money, with people, with equipment, with medias, with everything. Why he supported Lukashenko? Because he needed Belarus as a placdarm for attack to Ukraine. So he preserved Lukashenko, made this placdarm, put the army on that placdarm, and in February of 2022 attacked Ukraine. The operation was unsuccessful. Ukrainians defeated Russian armies in Kiev region. Russians ran away and left after themselves Bucha, Irpin, all the towns with a lot of killed civilians, prosecuted civilians, and it was a big scandal, everywhere in newspapers. But the most important thing that now, when Ukrainians started to beat Russian in South region and in East region, they released Kharkov area, and as well the big part of Kherson area and the city of Kherson. The only idea which comes in Russians' mind how to stop Ukrainian army in this point and made them to negotiate something is to attack from the north again, but not only with Russian troops, but as well with Belarusian army. Belarus has an army, and actually it's not a small, it's not experienced, of course, because we didn't were in any wars, but it's not, definitely it's not small. And Lukashenko has a lot of special forces and everything, and he has a lot of weaponry left after Soviet Union. Some of these weapons were given to Russia already, but a lot of them still in Belarusian army. So the idea to attack Ukraine from the north, to take big parts of Ukrainian army transferred to the north. and it will create the chance for Russians to make a counter attack in eastern and south region. And now everything actually depending on position of Lukashenko and of Belarusian people. Belarusians are against war. All the polls show that only 3% of Belarusians really support the using of Belarusian army in this conflict. 3%. That means that people don't want really to go to the war and die for Putin's imperial ideas. Belarusians don't want to do it because they don't have any imperial ideas. And actually, they really want to be Europeans. They cannot say it loudly now in Belarus because, you know, Belarus is under dictatorship. But in the reality, they really want to become Europeans. So this decision of Belarusians will be very critical for all Ukrainian campaign. And now it's important to push Belarus out of this war with any reasons. So it's important to make a massive pressure on Lukashenko not to help Putin and not to go in the war. We will see if it works. Thank you for all of you who subscribe to the channel and watching video. It's very important. Share it with your friends. Here you will have all the information about Belarus, Ukraine and Russia. Thank you. It was Andrei Kureichik. Slava Ukraini!